Hey everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to draw directly with pen and ink without using pencil to create drafting lines. So there are a few advantages to drawing directly with ink. The first advantage is you can save time by not having to draw the pencil lines, and you can also save time by not having to erase the pencil lines. So sometimes when you draw with pencil and you ink over it and then you erase the pencil lines, if the ink is not dry, it may actually mess up your line art. The second reason is drawing directly with ink may actually help you be more confident, because now you are drawing with ink, you cannot erase ink, so subconsciously you will make an effort to be more careful. However, you shouldn't be too stressed out about not making mistakes, otherwise your line art is going to look rigid. So these are some warm-up sketches I did before recording this video. Right, for the first exercise, I'm going to draw this mug with all my pens and pencils. If you want to follow along, you can download the reference photo from the video description below. So for this sketch, I will not be drawing exactly what I see. So I'm just using this as a reference. First thing I do is to visualize how much space this sketch is going to take up on the page. So I can see this looks like the midway point. So half of the drawing is going to be here and half will be here. So when I draw on the page, this will be the pens and this will be the mark. When you are drawing, try to spend more time looking at your subject than your sketch. So this is the midway line, and this is going to divide the pens and pencils here with the bottom of the mark. Try to connect the lines and don't leave open gaps like this, because when you connect the lines, it will give you the illusion of depth, front and back. Drawing directly with ink will also help you with your hand-eye coordination. And this is a nice warm-up sketch because if you show this to someone who doesn't have the reference photo to compare with, he or she is not going to be able to tell whether or not you have drawn accurately. So take your time and draw, really enjoy the process. Try to visualize the big picture when you are drawing. Once in a while, just look at the whole sketch and see if you have fitted the drawing properly onto the page. Because there are too many pens and pencils in this mug, I will not be drawing all of them. So make sure you close up the lines. When you close up the lines like this, you can see this pen, it actually overlaps the mechanical pencil behind. I need to draw one more pen here, but I realized that I've already drawn the circumference of the mug. Doesn't matter, I can actually just draw over. It looks like a mistake, but it's a sketch, so it's fine. Although you can see this line, it's interfering with the illusion of the drawing. To prevent this sort of things from happening, like overlapping lines where there shouldn't be, you have to plan in advance before you draw. You have to draw the elements in the foreground first, in this case this mechanical pencil first, before the mark behind. So this sketch, it's almost complete. Now while you are drawing, don't be too stressed out by wanting to make the perfect sketch. Sometimes when you are too stressed out, it really shows in your line art. Your lines will look more rigid. But if you draw like you don't care, your lines are going to look very loose and very sketchy. After you have completed your sketch, you can then take a look at your sketch and see where are the so-called mistakes and improve with your next sketch. So this is just a very simple warm-up sketch where accuracy is not that important. I mean, important, but not that important. For the second sketch, accuracy is more important because this building needs to be recognizable. Let's try and identify the shapes, the midpoint. So the midpoint, I would say it's somewhere here. This is the top, this is the bottom of the stairs. So the midpoint is somewhere around here. And this triangular shape, this is very obvious. We have another triangular shape here as well, some rectangles. Let's draw the triangular shape first. Again, straight with ink. Seems to be some thickness going on. So we need to make sure we get the main shape right first. And there's a smaller triangle here. And then this will go all the way to the right side. The details can be added later on, but we need to get the main shape right first. So here you see a mistake. I extended this part like way too much to the right side, but it's okay. The more you draw, the more you will be able to get a sense of the proportion. So once you have the main shapes, later on you can add the details. If you have the main shapes right, adding the details will make your sketch look better. But if your main shape is not recognizable or wrong, then adding details is not going to help you. Now for the steps here, sometimes I use this technique. So imagine where the line is going to end. Like it's here, you can then just join from the start to the end. Know where the line will end and you can just join from the start to the end. This helps when you have very complicated sketches. So I'm just going to draw like this tiny lines to represent the steps. So you can see the sketch is slowly coming to life. Usually for really complicated scenes, I may still use pencil just to block out the proportion, just to block out the composition. Here I see a mistake. I mean, this part here, it should be curved like this, goes up, and it has a sharp point, and then comes down like this. So I can draw the windows. Now with a dip pen, I can draw the details with thinner lines. And for the outlines, I may actually just press down harder to get the thicker lines. These horizontal lines are behind the tree. If you plan in advance, you should draw the trees first before the horizontal lines. But this is alright. If I paint with watercolor later on, these horizontal lines, they will not be that obvious. When you make mistakes, sometimes it's good not to go back and correct the mistakes. Just let them be. Because sometimes when you correct the mistakes, it may make the mistake look even more obvious. So in this case here, this extended line, there is no way for me to correct it. Let me just draw the building behind. Maybe if I draw the building behind, I can actually use this extended line. You see, now that I've drawn the building behind, that mistake, it's now less obvious. Sometimes you can make happy mistakes, the best type of mistakes. You don't have to draw a perfectly straight line to create an illusion of a straight line. You see this line here and the line above, they are not perfectly straight, but from afar, you will sort of understand that they are supposed to be straight lines. Another thing to note when drawing is don't use too many lines when drawing with one line will do. So for example, if you draw too many lines like this, it's going to make the drawing a bit confusing. Let me just add some finishing touches with this brush pen. So this sketch, it's almost complete. Now when you're drawing, try to enjoy the drawing process. Don't be too stressed out by the result. like really focus on your drawing, see how the lines, how the ink comes out from the pen tip, see how the ink dries, see how the ink reflects the light. Notice how this sketch looks better compared to this because of all the blacks, the contrast. So this is how I draw directly with pen and ink. I try to visualize the subject on the page first, and then I will draw the most important line first. Usually it's the longest line or the most recognizable shape. I will not think too much about the results. I will try to enjoy the drawing process as much as possible. And occasionally I will take a look at my sketch, at the overall sketch, just to make sure that I am in the right direction. The more you practice with drawing directly with pen and ink, the more comfortable you will become, and sooner or later drawing with ink directly will be second nature. By the way, if you happen to be a patron of mine, you can check out the extended version of this tutorial where there are a few more drawing exercises and more reference photos you can download. And if you are not a patron of mine, do consider supporting me on Patreon. My patrons get access to all the sketching tutorials I have made over the last few years. And there are a lot of tutorials. Alright, thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!